Greetings, travelers, and welcome to Geronimo Draws. In this episode, I would like to discuss The Temptation of Christ on the Mountain by Duccio from 1308. During the early Renaissance, Florentine and Sienese artists integrated classical techniques into their artwork, with a greater attempt at naturalism, shading, and perspective. It's a fascinating, unique period wedged between two distinct art styles, medieval Byzantine and High Renaissance. The Temptation of Christ on the Mountain is a single panel taken from Duccio's master work, the Maesta, an altarpiece composed of many individual paintings that was commissioned by the city of Siena in Tuscany. In the front, we see a large panel of the Virgin Mary and the Christ child enthroned with a host of angels and saints. The back of the altarpiece presents narrative scenes from Jesus' life. Several of these panels are scattered outside Italy in various museums. The Temptation of Christ on the Mountain is housed in the Frick Collection in New York and depicts a majestically towering Christ, rejecting the devil, who offers him all the kingdoms of the world if Christ will worship him. In the biblical text, Satan tempts Jesus with 3 shortcuts from the cross, which he must endure in order to save mankind. Jesus had been fasting for 40 days in the desert to prepare for his mission. This was a purposeful reenactment of the 40 years the Israelites spent wandering in the desert. But whereas the Israelites failed repeatedly to obey, trust, and worship God, Jesus overcame the devil's attempts to have him deny God. The first temptation symbolizes the need to fulfill one's desires. Satan is aware that Jesus must be hungry in the desert and tells him to turn the rocks at his feet into bread to satisfy himself. The second temptation is to win the hearts of men with wonders, marvels, and miracles, not with Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. Man will not remember the marvels very long, so he tells Christ to fall from a steeple in the city of Jerusalem and show the people how he will not be harmed. In the third temptation, as we see in Duccio's panel here, Satan offers Christ the kingdoms of the world. The Gospel of Luke states, "And he said to him, 'To you I will grant this whole realm, and the glory that goes along with it. For it has been relinquished to me, and I can give it to anyone I wish.'" Here Satan tempts Christ to abandon his divine mission, his God, his Father, for the future, and mastery of the world depends only on the social and political order. Duccio retains medieval conventions in depicting the figures as large, and the rejected kingdoms, packed with domes and spires, as small, thus suggesting a scale of values rather than naturalistic proportions. Yet we can read Christ's solemn expression as he points sternly at Satan. There is also an attempt at shading, particularly under Christ's neck. There's volume and weight to his form. This is also shown in the rendering of the drapery over Jesus' anatomy. Behind Christ, we see 2 angels who have come to aid him. Duccio ensures they follow the same elements of naturalism in their expressions and the folds of their garments. Satan is depicted as a dark, monstrous humanoid with grotesque features. His body is hairy and given bat-like wings, bats being regarded in folklore as sinister creatures of the night. The Temptation of Christ is just one of many powerful scenes by Duccio, each majestically capturing the spiritual essence of the biblical narrative. Duccio and the Florentine artist Giotto revolutionized the field of Italian painting in the 14th century by breaking with the predominant medieval Byzantine style, inspiring artists to portray these biblical scenes with vividness and emotional intensity. Thank you for watching.